SoundHound stock is up over 15% over the week, 40% over the month, but is down 45% year to date. And it's just broken a trend line, presenting a potential high value trading opportunity. So in this video, I want to unpack this opportunity, explore some trading rules and the trading setup, and see if this trade is worth taking. Let's take a look. Now, if you enjoy this stock analysis of SoundHound, or you enjoy my other stocks, please consider subscribing to my email newsletter where I share high value trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. Link in the description below, check it out. So SoundHound is up over 15% last week, but year to date is down around 45%. Now you can see on screen, it's recently broken a trend line, had a pullback, and now last week has pushed up, triggering an entry rule. So let's have a look at how this set up. So you can see on screen, SoundHound has been in a medium-term downtrend. And you can see I've applied a trend line. And it's obvious that last few weeks, price has broken through that, pulled back, and now last week has broken the previous peak. So it has triggered a rule in terms of considering Dow theory. And based on the numbers, it's presenting a really good opportunity for around about 124% up to the previous peak up here with an acceptable downside risk. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how I set up for this trade, and you can have a look at my rules and ideas and see if it's something you want to have a look at. So firstly with SoundHound, I want to analyze some of the key price levels. So you've got some markers to look at support and resistance. So we can see on screen that SoundHound listed originally back in April 22 for $8.72. So I want to mark that level up because you can see price has come back to that a few times, and most recently it has been built into the trend line break. So I'm going to mark that up at $8.70. There's also a key level through the center here around about $5.10. So I'm going to mark that up. We can see that price, after it fell away after the listing, came back down to find support at around about 92 cents, came back up here and found resistance, and also here before breaking through here as well. And you can see it did have a bit of price consolidation during September, August and October in 2024. So let's mark that one up. Next level we can see here is around about $1.48, where price came back to found support. And also the all-time low down at this level here around about 92 cents. So let's mark that one up. And last two levels, I want to mark up that original spike after listing, which is around about $18.22. And also final level, the most recent price peak here, which was formed in December 2024, which is around about $25. So we can see now, after marking up those key price levels, SoundHound is currently trading above this level here of $8.70 and underneath this level here of $18. And if we look closely, you can see after SoundHound declined and trended downwards from December 24 into this significant low here of $6.51 during April 2025, it has found support. I'm going to mark that up at $6.51 because you can see also it did find resistance here as well. So let's mark that up. So zooming in on the weekly chart of SoundHound, I want to just call out a couple of price levels of interest. So we've got this level here of $6.50 where it appears that SoundHound has found support. Price has broken through this trend line in the last 3 weeks. And that does correspond with the resistance of this $8.69 level. So price has trended down over the last sort of 6 months. It's broken through the trend line, suggesting buyers are coming in and buying up the stock. And most importantly, after this trend line break here, peaking at around $9.80, we have had a small pullback in the last 2 weeks to test the selling interest. And last week, the week of May the 12th, sellers have come back in and taken out this last peak, triggering a Dow theory entry rule. So since that low here, price has risen, pulled back, and now has taken out this peak here of $9.91. So it looks as if buyers are in control and we can take a trade on this SoundHound stock. So I want to share with you now how I would set up for this trade with my own personal rules, and maybe it's something that you can learn from if you're new to trading, or perhaps bring in your own rules and develop your own strategy. So you can see based on the chart, we have got significant upside from this price close here last week to this level here of $18. And it might keep going up to the previous peak of $25. So there's more than 100% on offer here if price takes off. And you can see on screen, I've marked up this section here where SoundHound traded up from around $5 up to the previous peak of $25. So this is a 400% increase. So it's clear this stock, when it moves, it can move quickly and offer tremendous returns if traded correctly. So let's look at some real numbers now and how you'd actually set up for this trade to try and get the best return. So in this trade with SoundHound, we're going to set up with a total capital of $50,000. And for our risk management rule, we're going to apply the 2% rule, which means that we are not going to risk more than 2% on this trade. That's the maximum amount we can risk. So that works out to being $1,000, 2% of 50,000. And also to manage risk further, we're going to be taking a 10% position size. In other words, we're going to split that 50,000 into 10 components, 10 possible trades, with this one being just one. So that means our position size of 10% is going to be $5,000. So we can see on screen here, we've got last week's bar. Closing price is $11.19. So we're going to imagine now we're going to be able to secure this stock at the closing price on Monday's opening market price of $11.19. So in theory then, what we can do is we can buy 446 shares at $11.19, which works out to be just under $5,000, actually being $4,990.74. So this buy order will fall inside our rule of 10% position size. So you can see on screen I've marked the entry price there with a green line. And also using the Trading View tool, we can see the potential upside for this trade and also the downside. Now for the stop loss, I'm going to use around about a 15% stop loss to protect the downside. And that works out to be the bottom of last week's bar, which is $9.52. So we can place our stop loss order trigger with the broker for $9.51, 1 cent under that 15% amount. So you can see based on that 15% stop loss, we would be selling the stock at $9.51 to get out of the position. So 446 shares multiplied by 951 would give us a total exit price of $4,241.46. So to calculate our total risk on the trade, we simply take away our exit price from our buy price. In this case, it's A minus B. So our buy price minus our sell price gives us an overall total risk of $749.28. And you can see this total risk amount is less than our 2% risk amount of $1,000. So this is inside our acceptable risk profile, which is great. So we know if the trade goes against us and the price triggers this low here, we stand to lose this amount right here, which is inside our maximum risk of $1,000. So this is okay. Now, what about the upside? And let's calculate our risk reward ratio. So you can see here I've marked up the green box up to this possible resistance level of $18. So if price rises to here, it gives us a total risk reward ratio of 4.05, which is excellent. Now, if SoundHound keeps going and breaks through that level of resistance, and works its way up to this level here, $25, this would be a potential 122% upside from the entry price, offering a risk reward ratio of just over 8, which is really, really good. So you can see on screen I've added in these details here. Take profit 1, scenario 1, it hits $18, gives us a risk reward ratio of 4. And if it keeps going and reaches this peak here of $25, this would be our second possible take profit level of $25. Gives us a risk reward of 8. Now, if we zoom out on the weekly chart, you can see this first take profit level around $18. I've marked up because it corresponds to the initial price peak all the way back in May 2022. So we don't know if this level is going to be a strong level. It's unsure until price gets there. And you have to assess that once price action reaches the point, whether it smashes straight through it or it looks as if price may slow down. Now, one option is when it gets to this point, if price looking weak, you can potentially take 50% of your profit off the table. Or you can take your original position off the table and just trade upwards with the profit you've already made. The choice is yours, but you have to assess that risk once the price gets there. I think looking right now, the probability is SoundHound will probably reach this high level here. And I say that because it's only been here after enlisting. It hasn't come back to revisit before. And also, if you look at the price action of SoundHound, it is trending up. It's been trending up since January 2023. And by adding a long-term momentum line in green, you can see that when SoundHound has come back towards this long-term line, it has pushed off and risen up quite dramatically. So you can see it's done it here in February 24 and also in this more recent spike back in November 24. So right now it's coming back close to this support line. It's broken the downtrend line and it does look good as if it's going to push off once again, creating a new peak. Possibly, it could trade up to around the $30 level before falling away again. So overall, SoundHound is looking as if it's setting up for a really good trading opportunity over the short to medium term. You've got 61% to this level here and over 120% to this level here, with a 15% downside considering a stop loss using the bottom of last week's bar. Let me know what you think. Would you take this trade? Would you use different rules? I'm keen to know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.